We've all heard of crystals, but what gives them the power to heal? Join me and crystal expert Heather Askinosie for a fun conversation that will help shed light on the mysterious healing powers of crystals. In this episode, you'll learn how crystals can help you learn to trust yourself and your intuition, why crystals support you in feeling grounded, how crystals are a form of technology, and how you can begin to use this form of technology to heal and hack into different energetic frequencies within yourself. Heather Askinosie is a crystal expert and leading influencer on the power of crystals, Feng Shui, and holistic healing. For nearly 30 years, she has been researching the scientific and spiritual aspects of energy. After studying with the best healers from all over the world, she has used the past 3 decades of her career to translate ancient wisdom into simple tools that anyone can use to transform their life. In 2000, Heather co-founded Energy Muse with business partner Timmy Jandro. Energy Muse provides tools of empowerment and inspiration in the tangible form of crystals and jewelry. Heather's crystal teachings can be found in her book, Crystal Muse, Everyday Rituals to Tune Into the Real You, and her upcoming book, Crystal 365, as well as Mind Body Green, Well+Good, The Chalkboard Mag, and more. So before we hop into that episode, I am still on the search for conscious thought leaders who are seeking to be part of a community, a mastermind of like minds in 2020. Thought leaders who are using their platform for purpose and are ready to create a magnetic movement around their message. If that is you, and you are ready to elevate your inner growth to create the external results that you're seeking with your leadership, with your movement, I invite you to apply to become one of the 10 founding leaders in the Thought Leader Collective. Head over to www.rubyfremon.com/TLC and apply ASAP for one of the final seats. If you dig this podcast, please stay in the loop by signing up for my weekly emails. Sign up today at rubyfremon.com/subscribe. And whether you are new to the podcast or a loyal thought leader, please make sure you take a moment to download a few episodes and drop a rating and review on iTunes. Now it's time to learn everything you need to know about crystals with Heather Askinosie. Hey, thought leaders, I am back and I'm really excited for today's guest because we have a guest who is an expert in crystals, which if you know me, you know I love me some crystals. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Heather Askinosie. It is such an honor to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me here. I'm excited, very much so. Thank you.
So Heather and I first connected, I think it was maybe 3 or 3.5 years ago when I reached out to Energy Muse, which is the company that you co-founded, to sponsor my events or to work together to collaborate. And we met in person in this cozy little room in your office. On the floor with floor pillows, and there's crystals everywhere. And you guys welcomed me to play with the crystals, and I just thought it was like the coolest meeting setup ever.
Oh, thank you. I remember that room. I missed that room. That was awesome. Fun. We did crystal readings and got to play with crystals all day. That was fantastic.
Yeah, so fun. And you guys Energy Muse has graciously sponsored all of my live events.
Because we love you. We adore you.
And I love and adore you. And what I love and adore the most about you and Energy Muse is that you're not just selling crystals, you're educating people on the use of crystals.
Yes.
And so my intention for this episode and our conversation today is to really give our listeners the real scoop on what crystals do, the metaphysical properties, even the scientific qualities of crystals that make them what it is, because you are the leading expert. And, have you ever seen that meme? I think it's a meme where it's something like, don't call them rocks. I've never seen that.
Yeah, that's funny. That's so
like, funny. There's so much more than that.
Yes.
And so I would love for you to share first
Okay.
a little bit more on what got you into crystals, because you got into it before crystals were like a cool
Yes.
thing.
Oh boy, yes, I did. So I got into crystals, I would say about 28 years ago.
Mhm.
And I got into them because at the time I was selling high-end real estate, and I had a client come in town from Brazil, from a Fortune 500 company.
Mhm.
And he said, hey, I'm going to buy a ton of real estate from you, but I'm looking for houses that have good feng shui.
Mm.
And I'm like, say what? And I had no idea what that was, but he said, go learn about it because it's the art of placement and energy balancing in a home. And so after I learned about feng shui, I learned that there was this whole world of energy that existed that was invisible, that
Mhm.
I couldn't see, but that was there. And it really opened my mind at a time in my life. And I don't know, have you ever been at that kind of time in your life where you're at a crossroads?
Mhm.
For me, it was on paper, I looked amazing. I mean, I
Right.
was living by the beach. I was making great money. I was in a, relationship. I had friends, parties. Blah. I should have been vibing so high. And
Mhm.
yet there was something deep within me that was just unsatisfied, unfulfilled. And it was that fork in the road in my 20s. And what happened is one day I was walking by this store and I was looking inside, and this was 27 years ago. It's not like
Right.
how cool House of Intuition. We have so many cool things nowadays where you can
Yeah.
walk by these stores and they're filled with crystals and candles. But back then that was very, for in California, you didn't see a ton of them.
Yeah.
And so I walked into the store and there was this purple shiny rock
Mhm.
the other side. And I walked over and I said, what is that? And she said, that's an amethyst. And I said, what is an amethyst? And she told me it had this energy and I didn't understand it. And I
Mhm.
ended up buying it. And that crystal at that time took me on a journey
Mm.
that into a world that for me, being an intellectual researcher type person,
Right.
it gave me something to hold in my hand that was tangible, but that was what energy was. And that
Mm.
started a journey.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's so interesting because it's interesting they say tangible and energy at the same
Mhm.
time, because I think a lot of people just think about energy as something that you feel outside of yourself, but to be able to hold something where
Yeah.
you can actually feel the tangible energy. And um I love that you said that crystal took you on a journey.
Well, because at that point for me, I was a triple type A. Maybe right now I'm only a single type A, double on my husband. I say, I don't know. But when I held crystals, there was this force that helped me feel grounded because I didn't know what grounded was.
Mm.
I had to, crystals helped me feel something that I wasn't used to feeling.
Yeah.
And so they helped me by having something physically in my hand that I could hold on to so that I could feel what grounding felt like. I could feel what calm looked like.
Mm-hmm.
And it opened up my heart. And at that point, it wasn't a big conversation, opening up your heart, tapping into these things.
Right.
Back then, it was something that I learned through the energy of the earth for me,
Mm.
by putting them on my body, by holding them, by having them in my space. And then all of a sudden, I know this probably sounds crazy, but I felt like I was listening to these crystals talk to me. Now, that's not a conversation you normally have with people. Hey, what are you doing? Oh, I just, I don't know. I'm talking to my rocks. I heard, and they're like, oh my God, you're off your rocker. But I was able to have this exchange that was uncomfortable for me, but I was feeling something, I was hearing something. And maybe because I'm a Scorpio and I'm very, into the essence of truth and exploration. I went on a journey because I was called to go on it, even though it was a lonely one, I'll be honest, at that
Mm.
time, but it
Yeah.
was something that I had to do for myself and for my growth and for my evolution. And
Yeah.
I think because for so long, I've been in a battle with so many people being like, oh, that doesn't work. That's this, that's that. So I don't want to say journey up until this point has been on, this is why crystals work. And I've always been in this very like kind of fighting for the cause kind of
Yeah.
energy. And now, luckily, in the last 2 years with the awakening of consciousness and just people being more open, more now a conversation. But before it was more of, give me the whole spreadsheet of why I should even care about this.
Yeah.
So I think that that's why Energy Muse has this energy of education, because for so many years I had to do that just to have people not throw me out of a room.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Cause back then there wasn't the awareness, and
No.
now we're living in a society that is waking up and is super aware and is attuning to the energies around them,
Yes.
and seeking support from tools like crystals. And so what I would love to hear is your beliefs on why do crystals work?
Okay. So it changes all the time for me. I'm going to be completely honest with you, because, and I think maybe as I change, shift, and evolved, how I see them shifts and evolves. And
Totally.
do you kind of, have you felt that with
as
your own?
with everything, like as I evolve, everything around me evolves. My purpose, the things I have, crystals, like energy, things evolve with us.
Right. Because one of the lures for me when I first got into this was, oh, you could wear this for money, and oh, this will be good for love, and that's what attracted me to it. How can this bring me love and this, and so I love that.
Yeah.
For me now, my crystal journey and what I think is really important is that I want to have Mama Gaia. I want to have the energy of Mother Earth on my body so that I connect with her light, her nourishment, her source of mana, so that I can be of service to her. And I mean it in the fact of my consciousness of the decisions that I make, so that I can make my small impact of giving back, so that my kids are in a place 7 generations afterwards, So
Definitely.
I definitely think there's an awakening right now, because there's people that live in a city that not everyone has the luxury of going out and going for a park, or going down to the beach, or going to a lake. I mean, we live in urban communities, but if you have this crystal and the energy of the earth, you do have a way to connect with that Mother Nature energy inside our environments. And I definitely feel that more and more people, and the reason why I think everyone's attracted to them is, remember when you were a little kid and you would go to the beach or you go to the park, we all picked up crystals and rocks, and they were our little treasures. It's something innately in us that we're wired for. We are wired to connect to the energy of the earth. We are wired to be in union with what we all as a common denominator have below our feet, which is the earth.
Yeah. I love that you shared it in that way. Like the crystals are the energy of the earth. And yes, like there are so many, we're blessed to live in Southern California. And there are so many people who live in cities and towns that really aren't connected to nature in that way. And I believe personally that in order to even rise into consciousness, we do have to have that connection with earth. So I love the way that you explain it. It's the Mother Nature energy, and it provides something tangible for us to like really connect, other than, placing your feet in the grass and placing your feet in the dirt and placing your feet in the water. Like a crystal is something that you can hold on to and really feel into that energy. And like you said, have that union, create that union with that energy. I don't know if I ever shared with you and Timmy, but my first experience with crystals was in 2002. So 2002. So that's quite a long time ago. I was going through my first divorce. I was about to leave my husband, and there was this Asian jewelry shop in the mall where my bank that I was working at was located. And in the Asian culture, they use crystals a lot. And I walked in there, and the woman looked at me, and she held my hand, and she's like, "You need this." I didn't tell her anything. The old grandma was the mother of all the women who worked at the shop. And she grabs this giant rose quartz bracelet. And she's like, "You need this." this is for your heart. And she's pointing to her chest, and I have no idea what's happening, but I start crying, and I was like, okay, I do need this. You don't know what's happening in my life, but I need this. And they taught me about the crystals and how different crystals support you in different ways. And they taught me how to cleanse the crystals with the salt. And that, I mean, from that point on, I think I was their best customer, and I had like a forearm full of bracelets for every different reason. And so I'd love to talk about the different crystals and how they have these different properties, because, you know, rose quartz, we can use that for our heart. There's ground crystals that help ground you, and then there's just like walking into a store randomly and just going to choose whatever calls to you.
Right.
So I mean, did someone just decide, hey, rose quartz, this looks like this could be for the heart? Like, how do we know?
Right. Well, this is how personally I think we know is that so many people will email us and say, where do I start?
Yeah.
And what's cool about crystals is they tell you what they do. You don't even have to know a thing about them. So most people will pick up a rose quartz and it's pink. And just by looking at it, you know, it's a pretty pink, soft stone. It just looks soft. It feels soft. And it definitely looks different than a black tourmaline, which is this black kind of really rugged stone.
Yeah.
So even if you don't know a thing, crystals visually show you the way. They're like, okay, I'm pink, I'm soft, put me somewhere where you just want to be held. And it's going to heal you softly. Versus black tourmaline, I look at as a bodyguard. Okay, hey, well, I need psychic protection. I need a shield around me. I need to have a barrier. I'm going to pick up, and even if I didn't know, I'm going to be attracted to that because, like, I want strength. I want something protective. I'm going to go for a black tourmaline. We innately know. Or then there's, I noticed you had pyrite, glittery, and it looks like gold. And so in our subconscious mind, we're like, wow, this is sparkly in coins. It looks like money. And so I think if we trust ourselves and we're able to just look and take the time, they tell us what they do. And when we are smart, and I see crystals as technology, I always have. And so for me, they are technology, and I use them to hack into my energetic frequencies to either shake it up, break it up, heal it up, zip it up, align it up, or clear it out. And so that is why every ancient civilization since the beginning of time have used crystals. And what I love about crystals is they keep reinventing themselves. So every decade, every century, they come out with a new, you know, and the Egyptians used them for makeup, and the pharaohs were buried in them. And, you know, the jade suits that was over in China and over in India, they were ground into medicine. And now they're LCD, liquid crystal displays. Now the highest technology out there is made with crystal technology. So it's this reinvention. But the reason that Crystal 365, the new book, was written is that, I know this might sound odd, but after our first book, Crystal Muse, people were saying to us, I don't know what my intuition is. I don't know how to go to a store and just pick what my intuition. And for us, we understand that, but for a large part of our population, that's something very new to them. So with Crystal 365, it's designed on, if you want to manifest wealth, use pyrite. If you want to have an energy of breaking through betrayal, use epidote. We give people that formula so you don't have to think, you could just start, and then you could start your own journey and then start trusting yourself.
Yeah, I love that, because that's really the reason why people feel as if they can't go into a store and just intuitively pick out a crystal, is that they don't trust themselves, you know. And I feel like our society, I mean, up until this point, I think things are changing now with us having kids as more conscious and awakened people, but our society has been bred to not trust ourselves, right? Like,
Right.
listen to this, follow this, do this, follow this direction. And so when it comes to crystals, you're so right. Like, I can't tell you how many times I go into a crystal shop. I never, ever go in with the intention to buy a certain crystal. I
Right.
just go in and my eyes will go wherever they're going to go. And my
Mhm.
heart will be like, this is what I need. Or I'll pick something up and I'll say, whoa, that was the energy that I was looking
Yes.
for. And
Yes.
it really is this game of self-trust of like, how much can I trust myself right now to go into
Right.
the shop and just follow what it is that my soul really desires.
Right.
And
Right.
yeah,
And
so
I definitely think as educators or wisdom keepers such as yourself or informants is that what I've learned, at least in this last year, is that I take a lot of things for granted on how I think. And I think everybody else is thinking the same way. And what
yes.
I found to be really better at what I can do is be of service is I need to maybe even take it down a couple notches deeper
Mm-hmm.
and start at this really baseline level so that we can all be talking the same language.
Mm-hmm.
And then we penetrate a larger nucleus because
Yes.
not everyone is you know what I'm saying? Some
Yep.
people want to be on, but it can sometimes be intimidating in the wellness world that and people are curious, but sometimes it's like, oh gosh, I don't even know. There's so much to learn. I'm not going to start because
Mm-hmm.
it could be intimidating. And we need to simplify it because it really is simple. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, it's like what we don't understand can feel super intimidating.
yeah.
And
Yep.
then I like that, you know, with your I have the first book, Crystal Muse, and I love it. And I'm excited for the second book. And with the second book, I love how you've gone back to like more of the basics because
Yes.
I believe that we're all on the same journey, you know, as human beings, as a um, community, as a society. We're all on the same journey. We're just at different points in our journey. That's the
Yes.
difference.
Yeah.
And so for us to be able to support one another, we often have to share knowledge from a place, from a language that people understand. And
Yeah.
if we are further along in the timeline in a certain area of our life, for example, you with crystals, um, to be able to communicate about them and educate people about crystals from their language,
Yeah.
place where they can understand, because they can be intimidating and they can also seem like, well, I don't understand this. It's just a
Yes.
rock that looks pretty. I don't get it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And
And
that's the confusion.
yeah, absolutely. And so we have, and they're really, in my opinion, they're tools, earth tools to help us heal, us humans heal.
Mm.
And how we do that is going to be unique to each and one of us. So for example, with rose quartz, for somebody, rose quartz might be used to attract love. For
Mm-hmm.
somebody else, it might be used to heal their heart from heartbreak. For
Mm-hmm.
somebody else, it might be like, damn, I got to take care of myself. I'm taking care of everybody else.
Yeah.
So you have one crystal that could have 700 different usages
Mm-hmm.
that are unique to you. So that's why I say use this crystal technology, the rose quartz, to go into your own cellular level and
Mm-hmm.
hack that energy.
Mm.
Get specific with that intention and
Right.
play around with that and go there because it is powerful when you do
Mm-hmm.
it. And it's all it is an intention with taking action with just a little bit of time. And you can, if you stay on something consistent for 40 days, you will be a different person after 40 days with one simple exercise, just being consistent with it, whatever
Mm.
that is that you want to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's what creates that union with the
Yeah,
crystal, and it also creates the self-trust within yourself. And that practice in itself, just enhancing your ability to trust yourself, is
yeah.
um, a gift that would open up so many doors in your life in so many different ways.
Hmm.
And what I keep hearing, like as you speak, is that crystals really are then this divine way for us, a divine tool for us to really learn how to trust ourselves as well.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And teach us how to feel again.
Mm, that is important,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially in
Yeah.
today's day and age. Tell me more
Absolutely.
about that. Teach us how to feel again.
Exactly. I don't know about you, but I mean, I feel like we live in a world that we are being programmed to be distracted.
Mm,
We are being programmed to, we have to really take ownership, I think, because
yeah.
not everything is good and bad, right and wrong. It's not,
Yeah.
there's not, we're living in this yes, no, right, wrong,
Yeah.
either or, but there's this whole in between cosmo, there's this whole energy field that we can hack into. There's this
Mm-hmm.
whole quantum level that we can expand upon. And we really need to remember that we are empowered, but we do need to take ownership, and we need to, if we believe in something or learn something, do your own research. Always do your own research.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's there. It's hidden in front of us. It might be 5 pages into Google now and on, but we have to, we're living in a different world. There's a
Mm-hmm.
different censorships going on. There's
Yeah.
different mental programming going on. We have to be aware of what's going on and be educated and take ownership for our own well-being and not
Mm-hmm.
be human lambs.
Mm,
Because if we do, then we're not empowered and designed to be the highest frequency of light that we are here to be. But we
right.
have to unite in awakening our own voice and power. And that's
Yes.
about being educated. And that's about not taking everything at surface level and going deeper and finding out the information.
Right. So, for example, if someone were to give me a rose quartz and say, hey, use this to
Yes.
attract love, or use this for self-love, use this for self-love, and I take it and I'm like, oh, but what I'm really feeling is like this nurturing, nourishing energy for me to be able to receive from others. So being able to like really trust ourselves and not just listen to the external sources on
Yes.
how we become robots.
Yes.
Basically.
Exactly. And so I love what you just said about gather the information, but at the end of the day, trust yourself.
Yeah.
Trust you, trust your internal, gather information, but always trust you and what's best for you, because the person who knows you best is you. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you feel has been the most impactful lessons that crystals have taught you?
Oh, wow. I think for me, I'm still learning them. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, I wish I could have been on the other side of this question. Yikes. I feel like right now I'm really in it.
Well, I mean, what's the
Yeah.
most impactful lesson up until today, like as of right now, that
You know,
crystals have taught you?
I think for me, crystals are something that they remind me I got to slow down.
Mm.
I've got to have patience, and I've got to stop long enough to connect. Because for me, I get excited because there's so many cool things out there. There's so much going on. There's so much to do. And yet sometimes I don't see what's right in front of me in the present moment.
Mhm.
But when I go back to my simple tools that I probably learned 27 years ago, the formula is the same. The formulas are pretty much always the same. And I just even take 3 minutes to ground and
Mhm.
just do the connection. I am a 100% different person. I come into my power, I come into my alignment. So it's, once again, it's having a practice of whatever that is for you and be consistent with it. And 3 simple minutes can shift everything for you. Really, it doesn't have to take an hour. It doesn't have to take years. Time and space is getting so thin now
Mhm.
that as long as we know how to work with this energetic technology, we can transmute and shift really quickly.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Um, yeah, because time is sacred.
Yeah,
And I think that's like the hottest commodity right now, to be
it
honest.
is.
Like it really is. And so for those who are listening who, I mean, perhaps they've had crystals, but they're just placing them around their house and not really understanding. Or perhaps there's people listening who are very new to crystals.
Right.
How can they start to really work with this technology?
Okay. Well, I don't know why I'm wanting to say this, but I'm going to. lately, a ton of people have emailed in. A lot of people have been putting their favorite crystals in their bedroom. And people have been saying, hey, I can't sleep. You know, I've got all these crystals, but I can't sleep. And what I have found is that crystals, when they get together, they almost like start talking to each other, and they create this energy, active energy. And they're up all night. And what I have been suggesting to people is take all the crystals out of the bedroom, see what the energy feels like, then slowly add a couple back in, because the room calms down. So sometimes too much of a good thing isn't a good thing. So I guess what I'm saying is, my favorite crystals for the bedroom are amethyst and rose quartz. I think they make a great couple. They really connect. They're in synergy. I love selenite for the bedroom. That's something that you can put on your windowsill. Selenite is this really cool crystal that I like to do before I go to bed. I just lay it on my chest for 11 minutes, and I just lay there, and you feel like a totally different person. Your energy is cleared. So the thing with crystals, and what in Crystal 365 is, we basically, I tell you, here's a crystal, this is what you do to it. If you want to use red jasper for getting you out of procrastination, carry it in your pocket with you, have it around, have it a touchstone. Some crystals are great for money if you want to get out of debt, and put all your credit cards under an iolite for a little while and see what happens for a week when you're writing everything down. There's simple ways that you can interact with them. And I think the first thing is that when you're new to this world, just touch and feel them, engage, connect. Crystals I know this might sound odd if you haven't worked with them before, but if you have, you'll get it. They like to be adored. They're kind of, I don't want to say they're divas, but they like it. They like to be, when you walk into a room, and I see them in your house, they like to be on a bookshelf, and when you walk in a room, they kind of sparkle at you. They like you to notice them. They like you to pick them up and have them around. And it's, the more you have them around, the more you touch and feel them, the more you're like, you miss them. Have you ever had a crystal? Or you've lost
Oh my God. If one crystal goes missing, and I literally have hundreds, but I'll know which one. Yeah.
You know them. You have this personal relationship with them, and you know them like they're like a friend, you know? And I've had crystals that I've given people that needed one, and I still miss them to this day, years later. Because but I knew that, I had to release them. But there's this energy exchange that is so magical that, and I think that that's why when crystals get you, they get you, and you're all in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's not many people that dabble in this, because it almost can become an addiction, because each crystal has its own personality. Carnelian's over there being like, I'm creative, and come on over here. And then rose quartz like, oh, I love, they all have their own little personality, and they make you feel different ways. And the way you'll feel them is by being around them, just like anything in life.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And I also now firmly believe that you guys need to create a series of memes where you stick googly eyes on crystals, and they're like saying what they are saying with their personalities.
But do you know, they all have their definite personality, and they like, I think they are getting their moment, and I feel like they're loving it. Here at Energy Muse, we know that if we don't make them the star, projects don't work out well. And unless you make them, they have to always be up front and center. And when they're up front and center, then everything's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. I feel like there's going to be some people who are listening who are like, oh my God, I love this episode. And then other people who are listening who are just like, wait, what?
What is going on?
Right. Yeah. And to those people of you who are saying, wait, what? Walk into a crystal store tomorrow.
Exactly.
Just walk into one.
It's a magical world it's a world of color and energy and possibility. And it's a world that in our world, we need to have more of. And it helps us remember that life is multidimensional. It's more than just what you see.
Yes. I love that. And it's like, all of this comes from the earth, which is so damn cool. You know, like the giant, I've come into your office and I see these
Yeah,
giant amethyst geodes, and I'm just like, holy shit, that came
yeah,
from the earth.
yeah. I mean, when we go to the Denver show every year,
Hmm.
it blows my mind, these minerals, these specimens that
Yeah.
come out of the earth. I mean, and they're not altered, they're not color enhanced. They come out, and this is our earth.
Hmm.
This is something that it's earth, Mother Earth's treasures for us
Hmm.
humans to engage with them in a way of appreciation, so that we remember always to appreciate and respect the earth that we live on, and
Yes.
to take
Yes.
care of her, because she's beautiful just like we are.
Hmm. I love that. I love that. She was probably joking around one day and saying, "Man, these human beings love shiny objects. Let me just create some shiny objects for them to connect with
Absolutely.
me."
100%, and they're our visual, they're eye candy. I
Yeah.
mean, they are eye
Yeah,
candy.
they're eye candy that actually helps you feel really
Yeah,
great. Yeah.
absolutely.
And so cool. So your new book
Yes,
is coming out. So by the time this airs, it's coming out in about a week. So November
yes.
12th. I encourage everyone listening to grab your copy, and I'll put the link in the show notes.
Thank you. Thank you.
And then for all your crystal needs, including metaphysical needs, because I also get my Palo Santo from you and a few
Oh,
other things. I've got candles from you.
thank you.
Um, where can they find you? Where can they
Okay.
learn more about you? And then I'll have all the links in the show notes.
Okay. So I will say this is what I do think is cool about Energy Muse,
Yeah.
and because it is, I think we're different in this way.
Oh, you are.
I'm very, it's important to me that the energy frequency at our warehouse is of the highest vibe.
Mhm.
So from 5:30 to 8 every day, 7 days a week, we have different frequency music, that megahertz music, mantras, high vibrational sound healing that goes on in our warehouse at all times.
Wow.
And we also, every day, there's copal, there's saging, there's cleansing. So
Wow.
you get products from Energy Muse. One of the things that makes crystals really magnificent is if they're clean and purified. Because if you
Mhm.
think about it, you get a crystal out of a cave, and the miner and the salespeople and blah 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 blah. We want to clean it so that when you get a product from us, it's ready to go. So
Mhm.
energymuse.com is where you can go to purchase anything. And our blog, it is so important for us to answer those questions. If you have a question about crystal, I could promise you we have a blog post on it, because we're not about holding secrets. We're about
Mhm.
sharing this wisdom so that you can get results, which is
Mm.
why we are in business and have been here for 18 years, because we want people to succeed, and we want people to tap into their magnificent, and we want people to be the best they possibly can be. That's what we're here to do. We are here to serve, be a servant of the earth.
Mm.
And so that's really our jam. But we're on all the social media. I'm at Heather_Askinosie, which is kind of my vibe. But energymuses.com is where you can find all of our products.
Love that. And then I love your Instagram too. So for those of you who are on Instagram, make sure you're following them on IG.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Heather, thank you so much for
Thank
dropping
you.
in.
My
And
favorite topic to talk about. I mean, come on, ever for me. Thank you.
right. Is my favorite topic ever of all time. And it's I would say a slight obsession, but for good reason. It's a good obsession to
Absolutely.
have. I
It
think.
is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. So thank you, Heather, for just sharing your wisdom, for sharing your gifts. And to our listeners, thank you so much for joining me and Heather today on today's Thought Leader, where we are challenging you to rise up, speak up, and create a movement. If you love this episode between me and Heather, please drop a rating and review on iTunes. And if you have any questions for Heather, for Energy Muse, for myself, please reach out to us on Instagram or social media, any of the social channels. My handle is at I am Ruby. And again, all the links will be in the show notes. I will see you guys back here later this week with a brand new episode of today's Thought Leader.